My name is Yusra.
And I'm Gilbert.
And today we have Hey everybody, welcome back to Eat and Talk. This is our first official episode with our first guest, Chef Byron, aka Chef B-Dog. So welcome. We're really excited to have you. Chef Byron is a personal chef located here in Minnesota, and he cooks for both the NBA, WNBA players, and NFL, located right here in Minnesota. We're so excited to have him. I found him on Instagram, and I saw his food, and instantly, I just connected right to it. So I was so excited to get you here on our platform today. This is also his first podcast, so it's going to be the first of many, many more to come. So welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm 24 years old. I am from originally I'm from Guatemala City. I grew up there when I was up until when I was 10 years old. When I was 10, that's when I got adopted by a family here in Minnesota. Grew up in a small town, Mountain Lake, Minnesota. It's about 2,000 people. So compared to Minneapolis, it's quite small. So
yeah.
I graduated from Mountain Lake in 2015, and I went off to college for music therapy and to be a psychologist. And I think halfway through my first year, things just weren't going right for me. I didn't really feel like I fitted there, and I wasn't really interested in what I originally went to college for. So in 2017, I finished my 2 years there, moved back home, and then that's when I decided, I need to do something with food, because food's always been my passion. When I was 14 years old, I remember my mom asked me to help her cook something, and ever since it's been nothing but success for me, and I haven't looked back since that time. But, yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. So you kind of answered what I was going to ask you is, why did you decide to become a chef?
So I was working at a nursing home back in 2018, and I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy working there. I didn't like the feeling that I worked for someone else, and just having to be on their schedule and also my schedule,
mm-hmm.
and just not feeling appreciated. And so that's what drove me to get my act together, and that's what drove me to apply for school and enroll in school, and I got enrolled in school and I got accepted, and in 2018 I went off to school. But yeah, that's what pretty much pushed me. That and my family, my friends,
mm-hmm.
especially my mom. My mom and I had a heart-to-heart one night, and she asked me are you really happy at the nursing home? And
mm-hmm.
I told her no, not really. And she could tell because I had a lot of late show-ups.
Mm-hmm. A mama knows.
Yeah. So my mom knew exactly, and so we had a heart-to-heart, and she asked me, what do you really want to do? And I told her I want to go back to school.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back to school and do whatever I was wanting to do, and that is cooking.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
So, at what age did you decide to pursue cooking? What was your first dish that you made that you were yeah, maybe I should become a chef?
The first dish that I made was when I was in my apartment. I made Alfredo. And I had a friend over, and he ate it, and I told him that I made the sauce from scratch. And that from that point on, that's when he said, bro, he's you ever thought about cooking?
Best Alfredo he's had.
Yeah, I'm yeah, bro, I have, but I just know where to start. And then he's kind of the one that got me into the whole idea of school, because he also wanted to go back to school, and him and I have been best friends since we were in 5th grade, and
mm-hmm.
and so it was good to reconnect with him that night, and that night was it's what inspired me to okay, I can do this. That, and I also took them to some of my friends and my boss my boss at the time, I was working at a bar and grill, and so like I took some to him, showed him the picture of my presentation, and he was amazed. So like even he told me too. He said that I should get to school too. So
Yeah. And what school did you go to again?
it's called South Central.
Okay.
South Central College.
Okay.
And that's here in Minnesota?
Yeah, that's here in Minnesota.
Awesome. So, what do you think were some obstacles that you faced as a young minority coming into this industry? What would you say was probably the biggest obstacles that you had to go through?
I'd say it would be like the support group. So like my class in high school was 32 kids, so very small. But I always felt that I didn't really belong with that class, just because I came here in the 4th grade. I didn't know any English, so like I had to get used to a whole new culture, learn a new language, and then get enrolled into school right away so that I could stay with my age group and graduate in time. So growing up, I would say like I didn't have that many friends, just because like me and my best friend from my class, his name is Carlos. Him and I were always like, people thought the worst of us. So like all of our classmates, we always thought the worst of us, that him and I were gonna be the most unsuccessful people in our class. And that's the opposite today, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm doing I'm doing celebrity chef stuff, and now he's working in Rochester as a X-ray as an X-ray guy, and he's he's wanting to be the head of the department. So him and I are actually the most successful out of our class.
Out of your
now,
class,
so
you gotta show them.
It's awesome to talk to him about it and like bring that up and tell him like, bro, like you and I got doubted the most, even by the teachers. And teachers doubted him and I the most.
Wow.
But like I don't blame him, because him and I did screw around a lot in class. Like we would get each other kicked out of class all the time.
Yeah.
But like we would still do the work. Like you may not see it, but like we still did that work, because him and I, we've never failed classes. Like we stayed on the B and A honor roll together.
That's
so it's
awesome.
like it's not like we let that affect our schoolwork. We still cared.
Yeah.
It's just that we like to make learning fun.
Yeah, that's good. I know you mentioned earlier in the beginning that you were adopted too. So, being adopted, did you think that was like a challenge for you to be more successful or strive more or be the underdog?
Yeah, so I personally like being adopted, and to be like this successful like now, and then looking back, I look at it as a blessing. So like I always tell my mom, it was a blessing they adopted me. I tell them that, like to me it's like a second chance. To me it's like a second chance at life. And so for me to have that second chance, I want to use that second chance to the most of it. And, that it just happens to be that I've hit the highest that I've been, and it's, it's going to keep going up. But yeah, it's definitely being adopted makes me push even harder, just to like show people that, anything is possible. Like it doesn't matter what your background story is. Like if you want it bad enough, you're going to work for it and put the time in and get there.
Plus, too, you have to show the doubters that way, thought you guys were not going to be successful, but look at where you are now, a celebrity chef too, so that's good.
Yeah, so you're only 24 years old, so props to you. You're very young. I mean, he mentioned it. He mentioned it in his introduction. I remember when I was 24, I still didn't know what I wanted to do, where I wanted to be. I'm almost 5 years past 24. So where do you see yourself 5 years from now, as far as your career and what your goals are?
For me, in 5 years, the ultimate goal would be to go from personal to private. Private chefs, that's where the big contracts are at. That's where you can...
So what's the difference between a personal chef and a private chef?
So personal allows me to cook with multiple people, multiple celebrities, multiple athletes. And private, I would have a contract just with one family or one athlete, and I would be their cook, their chef for the full year. Every single meal, so breakfast, lunch, dinner, 5 times a week, and then some holidays, and then traveling is required too with the family. So if they go on vacation, I go with them.
Wow.
So I'm pretty much I'm tied
So the
down to
big
one
big
family.
ballers, like
Yeah.
they're gonna give
Wow.
they're gonna give you the pool house to stay at.
I didn't know
Yeah.
the difference.
So so I'll be with one family full time, and usually with those jobs, housing comes with the job. You're just living on site with the family, and you know.
Some people do that with like barbers, like cleaners as well, and all babysitters, like nannies. So that's pretty cool. So most, like for me, I have a mentor in my life when it comes to certain things. I think Gilbert goes to someone, which is me. I'm his mentor. No, I'm kidding. Do you have anyone or a chef that you admire who inspired you, and what do you admire most of them, and who are they?
Yeah. So before school started, so you know, back in 2018, before the semester started. I was on my Instagram and I was just searching, you know, celebrity chefs around the Minneapolis area, and I stumbled upon a lot of profiles. So I reached out to a couple of them. You know, I wasn't afraid to get myself out there. I sent them pictures of my work. I sent them, you know, what I do, and pretty much asking them for advice as I was heading into culinary school. You know, I was asking them for tips. You know, what are you, you know, your advice for me as a new culinary student to be the most successful. And you know, like, of course, like most of them a lot of them didn't reply back, but one of them did reply back. Chef DeMarco replied back.
Shout out to Chef DeMarco.
Chef DeMarco replied back to me, and he gave me an opportunity last year. Around Thanksgiving was the first time that I met up with him. And he told me, like, hey bro, he's like, I have a charity event I'm doing for St. Paul. He's like, you know, if you want to work with me, or, you know, and see this side of the business, you know, you're more than welcome to come and, you know, see what it's all about. And so that's what I did. And, you know, Thanksgiving Day, I drove up here to St. Paul, and I got to meet DeMarco, and I helped him a lot, and I got to see, you know, what he's all about. And it was nice to do that event with him, because that told me, like, he cares about giving back to his community, because that's what it was. You know, it was a volunteer event. He just volunteered to cook all the food that was bought for the event. And, you know, I just, so Chef DeMarco gave me that opportunity, and that first time that I worked with him, we took a picture at the end, because, you know, I wanted proof, and I wanted to brag to my culinary classmates. I was like, look at this guy. And so after that event, he told me, like, hey, I'm gonna be in touch with you. So I was like, okay. So he messaged me a couple weeks later, and then December was when he hit me up again, and I ended up helping him do a Christmas party. And at that Christmas party, after the event, on my drive home, that's when he texted me. He said, hey bro, he said, you know, I appreciate you helping me. He's like, if it's all right, I want to be your mentor and take you under my wing. And he's like, you know, I'm going to make sure that you get bigger than me. And so, like, that drive home was very emotional for me, because that's what I had been working. That's what I was working towards. I was working towards a chef like DeMarco to take a chance on me and to, like, include me to be part of his team. So when I got that text, and, you know, that's when he officially said, like, you know, here's my number, and he said to save it. So I was like, okay. And so he said, save it, because, you know, when I call you. And so I was like, all right. So since that day, like, him and I have, you know, he's been nothing but awesome to me, and you know, he's a mentor that everyone would want in their life. And, you know, it's just beyond cooking. Like, I feel like him and I have that brother bond now, and you know, like, he's told me many times, and he keeps telling me that we're locked in for life, and, you know, he keeps telling me to stay loyal to him and stuff, and, like, he'll bring me places. And so, like, you know, like, I've been staying loyal to him, and, you know, I help him out. And so a lot of the timber rolls that I cook for is because of Chef DeMarco. Chef DeMarco he's in a contract with Malik Beasley, and so now his clientele that he had before, you know, he can't attend to it as much anymore, So he hands me down these gigs.
Oh, wow.
And so like for him to hand me down these gigs, it says a lot because
he puts a lot of trust in you
because
because he believes in you.
He puts a lot puts a lot of trust in me, and like he believes in me, and just having that power just like makes me want to push even more, push it more to to be great. And it's like like I said, Chef DeMarco has been inspirational for me, and I look forward to the more things him and I do.
And that goes back like what something I took away from what what you said was the fact that once you started, you were reaching out to people on Instagram and not being shy away from reaching out to people. So that's very powerful. That's something that I think most people lack, is like putting themselves out there.
Yeah.
But you took the chance and you put yourself out there and look at where you are now. So that was good. Have you guys like team up to make a special meal yet? You and Chef McCart?
No, not yet. Usually I just meet him at locations. And then by half the time he will tell me to bring this or an item, or bring food cooked, and he'll bring the rest. So there's times where him and I go half and half, and we just meet up, plate everything, and then we leave the location. But that depends too. If we're actually servicing the whole thing, we'll stick around and like we'll switch out hot foods and stuff. But other than that, like we haven't really collabed on a dish yet, which I'm surprised, but.
Hey, that's an idea now.
It's coming though. Yeah, it's coming.
Please let us know when you do.
Yeah, it's coming. I definitely want to do stuff with DeMarco in the kitchen, and like, cause I know between him and I, like our presentations are like similar. Like a lot of my inspiration comes from his plates, and so like I've taken that inspiration and turned it into my own like plating techniques, and as far as flavor wise. So like I know if him and I were to like.
You guys would throw it down. It would be good. It would be fire. So speaking of food, tell us what you brought for us today. I think you might have mentioned it's your favorite dish to cook, but I just want to clarify. Okay, so tell us about this dish. Tell us about your favorite dishes to cook and why it's your favorite dish.
So this here is creme brulee.
Which I'm going to take a bite of. So.
Yeah, me too. I've been waiting for this.
Creme brulee is one of my favorite desserts to make, just because there's art to it. There's a lot of art and science that goes into it, and if I believe if you really care for the food, the food will come out 10 times better versus if you're just making it just because.
This is so good. Oh my God, I gotta, cause the rest of the podcast is gonna be me eating. That's really good.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, you go ahead. That's so good.
Yeah, creme brulee is one of my favorite desserts to make, and it's actually one of my favorites to eat too. A lot of the parties that I do, this is what they request the most. So.
But
awesome. Other than that, like I love cooking seafood. Seafood is my go-to, and I feel like that's my strength. I'm able to do anything with seafood, and surf and turf is one of the most popular dishes that people ask me to make.
That's how I found him, by the way. I found his surf and turf like picture, and then I was like, oh my gosh! So one of my favorite things to eat. That's awesome.
And that's all inspiration from Chef DeMarco. I'm just taking his inspirations and making them mine.
That's awesome.
And a lot of them, I take ideas from DeMarco, but like I'll always make sure that I holler at him or show him that like I'm not trying to steal his ideas too,
Yeah. So to wrap this up, we'd love to hear what your proudest moment as a chef is, and then also I'd love to know what advice you have for other young chefs who are looking to go into this industry and who are struggling. What would you recommend them? What would you say to them?
So my proudest moment, I would say, was when the first time I cooked for Josh Okogie, because that was also a life goal of mine, was to cook at a high level. Not just at a high level, but to cook for someone a famous celebrity or athlete. That was like my number one goal, and like to get that out of the way. And like I said, that was all with DeMarco's help. DeMarco texted me the night before. He's like, what's up, bro? He's like, are you ready to change your life tomorrow? And I was like, yeah, man. Like I'm nervous. I can't. I didn't even sleep that night. I stayed up all night just playing 2K and just viewing what it was gonna imagine and what it was gonna be like to meet Josh.
Mm-hmm.
And like being able to keep that professional cool and not be like turned into a fanboy.
Mm-hmm.
But I was able to keep it cool, and I got a picture with Josh, and that drive home, that was just that was like,
Oh, you were ecstatic, super happy.
I was ecstatic. I was happy. That's when I driving home, I was like, okay, I made it. Like like now I just need to keep going to get to the next level. So I would say that was my proudest moments. Most memorable moments too was cooking for my first NBA player.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I see you were talking earlier. I was looking at your Instagram. So how important have you really utilized Instagram to be successful for you?
So I do a lot of networking. I do a lot of reaching out to people, trying to do collaborating with people. It's just one of those things where like I'm not afraid to like get myself out there. Even if I know that there's chefs that obviously there's chefs better than me, and like just being able to to like admit that to yourself, but also like put yourself out there, not being afraid of what other people think about your profile, and because like I'll always appreciate criticism from people. I'll always appreciate that. I'd rather have someone be honest and lie to me. So
absolutely.
So like I'm always networking with other chefs and trying to network around the area with other people.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's awesome. So back to the last part. So what advice would you give to young entrepreneurs like you who are looking to make it into this cooking industry, personal chef?
I would tell them like reach out. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Anything is possible. Don't say anything is impossible because it's really not. It's it all comes down to the person. Like I said, it's how bad you want it. If you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, like you can make
Eric Thomas. That's a famous quote.
You can make anything possible, honestly. And so like I would just tell people that are looking, my advice would be like stay focused, whatever you have to do. So like when I stay focused, like I let go a lot of my friends just because I didn't see them as positive influences in my life anymore. I saw them like they were trying to drag me away from where I was trying to get to. So I lost a lot of friends in the process of to being this successful, and I'm okay with that because now like I know exactly where I stand with people, and I know who's got my back, and I know who's real and who's not, and so like I said, do whatever you gotta do to stay focused and stay on track. And I would say self-discipline is a big one, being strict with yourself. So like not going out, and like instead of going out working on your business,
being responsible,
being responsible and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love that. One thing that stood out to me, what you said was specifically with the quote, especially when you're young, is we always seem to be caught up with like our friends and that social lifestyle. So I love that you said it's okay to lose friends because you're going after your dreams and aspirations, because whoever is, rooting for you is going to go to the top with you. So it's okay to leave some people behind. So that's very important. I think that's something that no matter what age we are, by the way, it's important that we don't forget that. So
and I found that out very quick because like I found out like a lot of my friends were mad at me, not because like I ghosted them, but it was more so of the
you're
idea,
busy.
It's more so the idea that like we all came from the same place, except they're still in that place, and
you made something of yourself.
I made something of it.
Yeah.
So like that's the one thing I found out that my friends were like the most irritated about. But that to me just showed jealousy. That showed to me like they didn't really rock with me like I thought if they were upset with that. And
that's amazing that you can identify that because a lot of people struggle and they don't know that there's like roaches that are like literally leeching on them. So it's good that you were able to identify that. So that's awesome.
And I like how you did touch base on like the self-discipline. I think the self-discipline is very powerful. It's very powerful that you were able to self-discipline yourself and know exactly who to keep around and who not to keep around. I mean, it all pays off, and I think a lot of us do struggle with self-discipline, but the fact that you took that into consideration is pretty powerful. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming today and joining us. We learned a lot. I took a lot of notes from you. You're very genuine. We're going to put your information on there so people are able to get in touch with you for further questions. You do have an Instagram, an email. Do you have other social medias?
I have a website that's going to be coming next year already.
Okay,
So I have
awesome.
My designer guy, Jeremy, he's working on that right now. So,
okay, awesome. So 2021, big things are coming up. So stay lookout for Chef B, and we look forward to connecting with you again because we know that there's going to be a bright future ahead of you. So I'm going to finish my creme brulee and my sparkling juice. So
I know they're probably wondering what kind of juice.
Yeah, this is not wine.
It's not
this
wine.
is non-alcoholic.
It's not
So thank you so much. Is there anything else you wanted to add or ask?
No, I just wanted to thank you for coming. The merchandise that you have on the table is pretty good, and I just want to encourage you to keep on going. Sharing your story is the most important thing. That's how we all succeed. Is sharing your story and have your mentor by your side. I guess there's one quote by Denzel Washington: "Each one teach one." So that's exactly what that you're doing. Is just it's amazing. For me, like I always tell you, I'm here for the food, but the conversations are always good too. But the food, I'm always here for the food.
Yeah, our logo, our motto is great conversations fill starvations. So it's good to connect like this because it's important to feed your stomach, but it's more important to feed your mind. And so it looks like you're doing both. So please keep at it. What you're doing is amazing. So thank you.
Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to besides your
Chef Marco? That's it.
I would say Chef DeMarco and Jeremy. Jeremy's my guy that does all my designs, so my T-shirts. He does all my printing services. So he's also been a part of the ride too. He's the reason what made me official.
Wow.
With his help with my logo and everything. So
you have a
nice
solid
job,
team.
So.
That's good. That's important.
Keep your network strong.
All right.